Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, we're going to be talking about a bunch of different topics, including future DLC for Grand Theft Auto Online, when we can be seeing new vehicles, properties, so much more, and all the questions you guys had for me. Now, as always, if you want to get involved, all you got to do is go down in the description, follow me on Twitter, and use the hashtag AskBoss if you want to be featured in a future episode like this. But we have got a ton of really great questions to get into today, so let's not waste any more time, and let's get it started. Our first question today comes from Mr. Caleb, who says, why do you think Rockstar is finally putting the laser in online? Well, a couple reasons. Number one, we've seen Rockstar do this in the past where they've added vehicles that were either available in single player or were in online but haven't been able to be purchased on websites. They've been doing that since 2014, really. More recently, they've been adding vehicles like the Duke of Death, adding the Dodo Seaplane into the game. And number two, as you guys probably know, the laser is going to be $6.5 million when it's added into the game. So this was just an excuse for Rockstar to put a massive price tag on a vehicle because they know that some people will buy it and that they will end up purchasing the laser. Now, I think that this is the ultimate buyer beware because the laser is going to be coming out right before the update. And if you spend $6.5 million on this jet, that's $6.5 million you won't have to spend on the next update, which might increase your likelihood of either having to buy a shark card or playing the game that much more. So those are probably the two reasons why the P996 laser is going to be a drip-fed vehicle, which will be added into the game fairly shortly. Moving on, our next question comes from Merrick, and he says, if we get the nightclub in the next update, do you think we can own more than one? So when I first saw this question, I was like, why am I even going to select this? This is ridiculous. That doesn't make sense. But then I started thinking about it. Well, in the Bikers update, we can own multiple types of businesses. You know, you've got your methamphetamines, you've got the cocaine lockup, you have the weed farm. So would it be too far-fetched to say that you could own more than one nightclub if, of course, that is going to be the business property that Rockstar chooses to add? And my answer is still going to be probably not, because I'm not sure nightclubs are as diverse as the illegal goods that we could sell in the biker business, but I still think that it would be pretty interesting. That would be seriously, it's like a throwback to the Ballad of Gay Tony, where you were managing multiple different types of nightclubs, Hercules, Bahama Mamas, you had Masonette 9, which was obviously the main one that you ended up managing and stuff like that. But if nightclubs do come, I'm going to just say that there's likely only going to be one that you can own, just to keep things pretty simple. Moving on, we have a question from Nolan, who says, do you think we will get the new fastest car in the game in the next DLC? There's a good chance we will. Rockstar have confirmed that there's going to be new additions to the Legendary Motorsports site, which might end up being a supercar. And you guys know that with the supercars, Rockstar typically make them more expensive, or at least on par expensive-wise with the last set of supercars, and they try and make them a little bit quicker or a little bit better so that you have a reason to buy them. So especially with supercars, obviously people buy them because either they're cool or they have good mods, but at the end of the day, they're going to be racing with them. And if Rockstar continually add supercars in the game and they're not better than the others, there's no incentive. So yeah, I do think this next update will provide at least an on par with the fastest. So something that's competitive with the Wagner and the T20 and the Nero Custom, but there's likely a very good chance that it will become the fastest in the game as well. Now, speaking of some of those vehicles, our next question comes from William Rivera, who says, do you think there will be any more superhero-themed vehicles in the future? So I'm assuming he's referring to the fact that Rockstar added the Vigilante, which is 1,000% based off of the Batmobile. Now, I'm not sure about superhero vehicles in particular, but we do know that Rockstar is a fan of pop culture, TV shows, movies, video games. We've seen them add vehicles that have been featured in TV shows from the 1980s and other movies, so it certainly would not shock me if they were to do this going forward. I'm not so sure about superheroes, as I think their vehicles may be a little bit limiting as far as what you could add in online, but definitely other people that you might recognize from famous movies or famous TV shows, I 1,000% will tell you that they will add something like that into the game and probably into the next update as well. Moving on, this next question comes from Hunter, and he says, if the next update will include mansions, how many mansions do you think Rockstar will add? So I'm going to say a good handful. I would probably say over 10 of them. So it kind of depends, because Rockstar hasn't added like a recreational property in a while. They've done business properties, and there was over 10 bunkers. There was only 4 or 5 hangars. There was a ton of motorcycle clubhouses that you could purchase, and there's only 4 CEO offices. So I think it kind of depends depends. But with something like the mansions, as you guys have seen me show off in a few videos, there's, you know, tens, if not 20 or 30 examples of beautiful mansions that Rockstar could add into the game. So I would say definitely over 10. And I would be disappointed if it was really anything shorter than that. Speaking of those mansions, this next question comes from Corey, and he says, when the update comes out, do you think we'll be able to buy Devin and Martin's mansions? So he's referring to Devin Weston's mansion and Martin Madrato's mansion. I'm even going to throw like the Playboy mansion in there, and I'm going to say no. I would say any property that causes I guess like interference, like it crosses with other missions or other single player characters, I'm going to say no, we won't be able to buy them. So that's personally what I think Rockstar would do. They would stay away with things that would have, you know, pre-existing conflicts with each other, and they would likely choose mansion locations that you don't have to visit on missions or isn't associated with a single player character or isn't tied to some cutscene or anything like that. That would be my best guess, is that they would want to avoid any conflict like that if possible. All right, our next question comes from Rafael Lugo, and they say, when will we get more Benny's vehicles? So that's actually a good question, because believe it or not, the last time we got a Benny's vehicle was in the December 2016 update, when we got stuff like the Comet Retro Custom, LG Retro Custom, Nero Custom, Spectre Custom, etc. That'd be really cool. And I miss Benny's, because Benny's offers us a wide variety of different things we can do. Now, Rockstar have been doing some sort of Benny's stuff in the LSC. Like, for example, the recently released Coil Cyclone. It had, you know, liveries that could be applied, and that could be done at the LSC. But yeah, I'm hoping we get more Benny's vehicles in this December 2017 update. That would certainly be awesome. Although it looks like Rockstar might be leaning more towards weaponized vehicles, which I'm not exactly a huge fan of. So we really just will have to wait and see. Moving on, we have a question from Paul, and this kind of goes nicely together. He says, when will we get new convertibles / roadsters like the new Tesla Roadster that was introduced yesterday? So by the time you're watching this Q&A video, likely was not yesterday, but in case you missed it, Tesla, which is an electric car manufacturer run by Elon Musk, they introduced a new version of the Tesla Roadster, which I think is going to be coming out in 2020. Now, in case you guys also don't know, Rockstar have parodied the Tesla Roadster, the original one that came out a couple years ago, and that is the Coil Voltic. You might not have known that the Voltic is based off the original Tesla Roadster. So wouldn't it be cool if Rockstar did a Voltic custom, or they added a new Coil vehicle into the game to match the Roadster that Elon Musk and Tesla just introduced? Now, this thing is so cool. Apparently, it's going to be the fastest vehicle in the world with crazy accelerating speed. I mean, it's so awesome. If you guys have seen this vehicle or you saw the introduction of it, then you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, convertibles and roadsters in general would be awesome, but especially if they added the new Tesla Roadster, that'd be super cool as well. Moving on, our next question comes from Ryan, and he says, do you think Rockstar will ever add animals and wildlife into Grand Theft Auto Online? They won't add animals into this version of online. Maybe they'll do something in the next one, whether that's in GTA 6 or something else, but Rockstar really need to get their act together before Red Dead Redemption 2, because they can kind of get away with not having animals in Grand Theft Auto Online, since for the most part it's a suburban city and just, you know, vast mountain ranges. But in Red Dead Redemption 2, they won't be able to get away with that. If there's not animals, that's going to be so awkward. So hopefully they fix whatever issue they had with that soon, because without animals in Red Dead Redemption 2 in online, that would just be really weird. Our next question comes from Melvin Robbins. He says, so with gun running, we had Agent 14. With Smuggler's Run, we had Ron. If this next update is retro-themed DLC featuring nightclubs and bars, could we see Trevor as our guy? You know, that would actually be really cool. Trevor would be I guess a perfect one, because he can actually buy the hen house, which is kind of like a bar, strip club, nightclub. And doesn't he end up like running the Vanilla Unicorn strip club at the end of the campaign? So yeah, I think he would actually be the perfect person to end up doing it. I'm not sure as far as other major single player characters who it could be. Maybe it is someone else that Rockstar has to like whip up and create, like Agent 14, like what they did with Heist and for gun running. But who knows? I think that would be awesome, and I think Trevor would be a perfect character to kind of lead us down that road. Moving on, our next question comes from Mary Dan. And he says, do you think Rockstar will ever make a holiday-themed adversary mode like they did with Thanksgiving football and Halloween? So he's referring to like a winter or a Christmas themed adversary mode. And I think it would be cool if there was an adversary mode based off of like snowball fights or something like that. So you guys know Rockstar is certainly not shy when it comes to adding adversary modes into the game, but they've never done a specific one for the Christmas or holiday or winter season. I know there's a ton of potential there, so maybe this will in fact be the first year that Rockstar end up getting to something like that. And adversary modes aren't the only thing I think Rockstar skimp out on when it comes to the winter update. Clothing and other things, I mean, they don't even do any Christmas or winter themed vehicles. So they've got a lot of work to do, in my opinion, to make a really cool winter holiday themed. But that's a great question, Dan. Thanks for asking it. Let's move on to another question from Luciano. That is, do you think we will be getting new weapons in the December DLC? Perhaps a flamethrower. So a flamethrower would be super cool. And when is the last time we got a new weapon in online? And I'm not talking about the Mark II weapon. I think we have to go back to the Bikers DLC in 2016. That was like the last time we legitimately got new weapons into the game. So yeah, that would be cool. I would love it if they did some retro Vice City, San Andreas weapons like a flamethrower or a katana. That would be awesome. I would love to see something like that added into online. Moving on, our next question comes from Brandon, and he says, how many drip feed items do you think there will be in the next update? So goodness gracious, we had what, like 8 or 9 drip fed items in Smuggler's Run. I would imagine it would roughly be about the same in this update. I mean, you know there's going to be drip fed items for the Christmas update, but I'm sure Rockstar want to extend even more to that going into January and February. The only way I could see them doing less drip feeding is if Rockstar have plans to add a formal update for like Valentine's Day, which obviously happens in February. Then maybe we'd only see about 5 or 6, but I still think we're going to see that large amount of around 8 or 9, maybe even 10 for this update. All right, our final question today comes from official Ozzer YT, and he says, do you think Rockstar will add the hotel in the I'm Not a Hipster Part 2 DLC since there's a spawn location for it? So a lot of people have been tweeting this at me, and to answer and solve this mystery, if you do not own a property in-game, you can actually set your spawn location to hotel. And what that will do is it'll spawn you at random points around the map, or kind of closer to your last location. Now, the only reason you have hotel as an option is because you don't own any other properties. I don't think this actually means they're going to let you live at a hotel, and I'm not sure they would actually allow us to implement that in I'm Not a Hipster Part 2. Do I think that'd be awesome to kind of live in hotels and the various ones we have around the map? Yeah, absolutely. That sounds kind of cool, but I would hope that Rockstar would do more than just allow us to be guests at hotels and do something more like mansions or beach houses or stuff like that we could actually end up owning. But anyways, that's all the questions that I'm going to be answering in this week's Q&A video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. As always, if you want to get involved in the next one, all you got to do is go in the description, follow me on Twitter, and use the hashtag AskBoss whenever I'm looking for Q&A questions, and you might find yourself featured in the next one. If you guys did go and enjoy this video, though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. Without the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.